Hello everyone, today I'll be covering the map function in Python. Say we want to operate on each value of an iterable such as a list. We can use the handy for loop to iterate and operate over each value in the list and then append it to a new list. So basically what this would look like would be we create a list, and what we want to do is we want to operate a function on that list. So let's use maybe squaring all of the numbers in a list. So use the square function and take the number input and return, I believe it's the power function, yep, power, the number to the power of 2. And when we have that, the function will return the square of the number. So if we want to square each number in the list, what we can do is create a new list. It's just going to be an empty list. We can also instantiate this using just the list object, and we need to iterate over each item in the list and add that item to the new list, except that item needs to be squared. Let's print our new list. And of course, I used number incorrectly. Look at me go. Alright. There you go. So now you can see that we have the numbers in the list and they're all squared. But I believe there's a better way to do this, and that's using the map function. The map function takes a few arguments, and the first is the function that we will be using to operate on, or for each element in the variable. So let's write our map function right here. And in this case, that will be square. And the second is the iterable itself. So in this case, it's our list1. Now notice what the list printed on the right was. It was 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. But this could be written basically as the square of 1, the square of 2, and so on until the square of 5. And that's basically what it was. And it was just returning, the square function was just returning the value that was the square of the input. And that is going to be what this map function does. It basically applies these functions onto each element in the list. So the map function returns a map object, which isn't inherently useful. I'll demonstrate me printing it right here. And you can see it returns a map object, which isn't inherently useful. So what we can do is we can convert this into a list. So this is just going to be casting it into a list, the map object, and that will return something inherently useful. So I'll go back over to the terminal. And you can see that we have the same output as before. This was our one using the iteration, and this is our map return object, or our map object converted from a list. Now we can also condense this further using a lambda function. If you're not familiar with lambda expressions, they're basically one-line functions. You can click on the annotation to learn more about them. I'll remove the function declaration and replace it with a lambda expression. And I'll use a different operator this time. Instead of saying the power of x to 2, we can just say x to the power of 2. And then a lambda, we'll need to specify the list, which we already have, and that works out just fine. So basically what this lambda function is doing is it's just using the lambda keyword, and it's telling us the argument that's going to take, in this case x, and x is representing one of these numbers, each element in the list, and we're just going to return x to the power of 2. If you want to learn more about lambda expressions, again, take a look at the annotation. And as printed again, we should get the same result, yep. Remember, you can iterate over any iterable, which includes tuples, dictionary keys, dictionary values, and more. So what if we have a function with multiple arguments? The map function can zip two lists together and pass it to our function. So let's try it out right now. I want to raise a collection of bases, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, to a collection of powers. So we're just going to be squaring these, or it's not squaring these, bringing to the power of 3, bringing 1 to the power of 3, bringing 2 to the power of 4, and let's say bringing 3 to the power of 3, bringing 4 to the power of 3. And we'll do that. And I want to print a map converted to a list. So you can see just the same sort of setup we had before. And let's use a lambda expression. And we want to take the base and the power and as arguments, and we want to return the base to the power of the power variable. We'll specify bases and powers as the rest of our map arguments. So if this looks a little daunting, basically this lambda expression, like I showed those before, which basically I showed this lambda function before, which basically has our two arguments, base and power, and it's going to take base and bring it to the power of power. And then we have these two other arrays in our map function, which are being passed into map and then being zipped together. So basically it's going over the first element in bases and the first element in powers, and it's going to return that, it's going to pass that into the base function and then return that output into a new list object like we've seen before. If that didn't make too much sense, this is basically what this is basically what it's going to look like. 1 to the power of 3 is 1, 2 to the power of 4 is 16, 3 to the power of 3 is 27, 4 to the power of 3 is 64. So there you go. That's all the basics for the map function today. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below what you want to see next. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.